Hello friends, it's James Stevenson back with your weekly subscriber exclusive episode of the Tesla Diner. I wanted to start with that shot of Loki because he was looking right into the camera. I normally start here with my intro shot. Hello, welcome back to the Tesla Diner show. It's what it's going to feel like. Tesla had an earnings call last week. You'll see some of that in today's video, but I was just flipping through all the stuff that I liked, and I like things about the Tesla Diner because that's what a lot of this week's positive news on X was. The format of this show is I show you everything I liked on X over the previous week and talk about it. And I liked a bunch of stuff about the Tesla Diner. What's wrong with that? That's what new, fresh content was getting created by people that I liked. Right, Loki? Loki agrees. So without further ado, we will pick up where we left off last week with this tweet from Viv. If you want to hear me talk about that, watch last week's episode. But here's one from Captain Eli, the Captain Eli, who I got to meet firsthand. He's a nice guy at the Tesla Cybertruck First Deliveries event at the end of November 2023. Feels like a long time ago. But he posted my first drive in the Cybertruck, closing the loop from 17 months ago when I was in Austin to see it for the first time, but without driving. Thank you, Tesla. Thank you, Elon. So go watch this video if you want to see Captain Eli. I think he lives in Israel most of the year, so he was just visiting the U.S. Again for his chance to drive a Cybertruck around, and looks like he was having a blast. So how do you not like that post? He's been getting some interaction from Elon lately, which is great. Good for Captain Eli. Here's one from What's Inside, at What's Inside. I don't like a lot of their posts, but look how much effort went into this video that they made showing the roller skate delivery of some complimentary items, little sample ice creams being handed out at the Tesla Diner. Really good work here from What's Inside.
I was the first person to drive in and check it out. There were girls on roller skates giving out ice cream. Can I grab one of those?
Of course.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Optimist robots giving me popcorn. And yes, we're in California, so there were angry passerbys calling us names.
All right, you don't need that. Just a fun little video there about the Tesla Diner. Here's one that isn't about the diner. It's about Robotaxi from Dylan Loomis at Dylan Loomis 22, fellow Rebellionaire Lion. Prediction: Tesla will expand the Robotaxi geofence in Austin again sometime before August 5th. When they do, they'll go back to having a larger geofence than Waymo. This time that won't change again. Tesla won't give up their larger coverage map in the greater Austin area, again, is Dylan's prediction. After this next expansion, Tesla will have the larger geofence in Austin, and it will stay that way until Tesla covers the entire city and surrounding areas first. Hashtag Tesla. The date may be after August 5th, based on the comments Elon made during the conference call, I think. Let me know in the comments below, when do you think Tesla will expand their service area in Austin? Here's one from Kim Java.
Do you talk? Someone took a Waymo to get to the Tesla Diner. The bathroom is pretty insane. So look at this window. It's supposed to look like the inside of the Dragon capsule. The Tesla Diner is a one-of-a-kind supercharging experience. First movie they're showing, we have Dakota Fanning as a little girl, Tom Cruise, War of the Worlds.
Get in, Manny, or you're gonna die. Okay.
Who remembers that movie? 8 years ago, Elon Musk tweeted out that he was going to be building a Tesla diner during one of his late night tweet storms. Here we are, almost 8 years later, and it is here, opening day. All right, let's eat. Everything is on brand. Do you talk? Someone took a Waymo to get to the Tesla diner. The bathroom is pretty insane. So look at.
All right, there you go. So I think some folks lifted video that Kim Java shot, well, her and her husband, PJ, I think, shot, and posted it without attribution as their own to get social media engagement, which happens all the time these days, I guess, but come on, that's classless. To wait for somebody to shoot their own video. Here's one with Franz opening the place for the grand opening.
Hi, I'm Franz. It's 4:20, and welcome to the Hollywood Tesla Diner and Supercharger. First of its kind. On behalf of everyone at Tesla, I announce the doors are officially open. So come on down, eat, charge, and watch a movie and enjoy yourself. Guys, come on in. Welcome to the diner. Welcome to the diner. Congrats. You guys are beautiful.
Franz von Holzhausen, who doubtless has a whole large closet full of great clothes he could have worn to this event, instead showed solidarity with the wait service staff by wearing what they're wearing, all black jeans, and a black t-shirt. Franz does wear black jeans a lot, but I mean, just graphic tees that are black, Franz would have had a lot to pick from. He could have worn his Optimus Heart Hands t-shirt. Even I have one of those. But just all black, in keeping with the outfits worn by the folks who work that location. So I thought that was a nice touch from Franz. He's good at that stuff. Elon couldn't be there, I guess, so the diplomacy responsibilities then fell to Franz. Perfect California guy to open a California location. Here's one from Jeff Lutz at the Jeff Lutz. Okay, this is the Grok release in its exceptional low latency, immersive audio useful, and I signed into Grok in my other car and was already signed in here. Seamless, high quality experience. You can tell this was built by one team essentially, and it will only improve. Hashtag Tesla. The rip on Grok 4, if there is one, is that Grok 4 is going to take a minimum of 90 seconds to think about any question you ask it. That has been my experience with Grok 4 so far. Now, Elon tweeted recently that you can select, let Grok think about how long, auto Grok or something, let Grok think about how long to take to answer my question, which will hopefully result in some questions being answered in 5 seconds or less, because sometimes only a quick Googling is needed to answer a question. It shouldn't take forever to answer a fact-based inquiry. If you're just looking to know the etymology of a word, Grok ought to be able to fetch that pretty quickly and get back to you without thinking about it for 120 seconds or 150 seconds. That's a long time these days, especially among the youth. Like, what I've heard from professors who deal with young people today who use AI to help them do their homework is students today don't like all the reading they have to do when they use AI assistants. Like, it makes them read a couple of pages of information every time they ask it a question, and they're not down with that. That's too much time wasted reading things, in their opinion. Like, those of us who are of a certain age, my generation, are very appreciative of being able to read that 1 or 2 page summary answering the question that we asked, because when we were kids, there wasn't anything that could give you that 2-page summary. You had to just go learn until you got maybe half of what that summary gave you, right? And then pick up the rest as you go along in life from smart people who you talked with, or from maybe you would take some courses that would teach you more information, right? But yeah, kids these days, the youngins these days, don't like using AI assistants because they have to spend so much time reading all the blocky text and tables that AI generates for them. All right. Here's one from Chris Robovan at Chris Robovan on X. 27 minutes between these posts. Sawyer Merritt said, Tesla Megapacks will likely play an important role in this. Retweeting Elon Musk saying the XAI goal is 50 million in units of H100 equivalent AI compute, but much better power efficiency online within 5 years. Yaman Tazdavar at Value Analyst 1 replying, likely not. Now, friends, I've been blocking this account for 4 years and recommending that others who support Tesla do likewise. I don't know why people still follow Yaman Tazdavar. I don't and haven't for forever. Why would I like this post? Because of the chaser. This is the shot. Here's the chaser. In mid-February, who broke ground at our new data center at Tulane in Shelby County, Tennessee. Now, friends, you may be thinking that Tulane University is in New Orleans, and indeed that is the main campus of Tulane University in New Orleans, Louisiana, not Memphis, Tennessee. But I guess Tulane has a campus in Shelby County, Tennessee, which is where Memphis is, the southern border of Tennessee at the western end of the state is Shelby County. I used to live not far from there. I have lived in Shelby County, Tennessee before as a kid. This initiative includes the installation of an additional 110,000 NVIDIA GB200 GPUs. Powered by a diverse array of energy sources similar to Colossus, we are building that similar redundancies for Colossus 2 that mimic the success we've seen at Colossus. This includes Tesla Megapacks to provide critical support during peak demand periods, ensuring a stable power supply while safeguarding Shelby County residents from potential blackouts. We expect to power on this facility within the next few weeks. As is the case at Electrolux, we are excited to be a valuable partner to Memphis. So I guess Electrolux was the Colossus 1 facility that Tesla bought. There's a whole bunch of warehouses surrounding the Memphis airport because that's the headquarters of FedEx. FedEx's hub is the Memphis airport. So the Memphis airport puts out as many cargo flights as they put out passenger flights. That's a rarity. Or maybe more cargo flights than passenger flights leave the Memphis International Airport. And that's MEM, not MIA. MIA is Miami. So yeah, that whole area has been industrial for a long time, and it has looked like warehouses for a long time. And I thought you would have had all the power you would need there, but I guess they need a lot more power. And you need very clean power. You need very precise power availability. At the time that your 110,000 NVIDIA GB200 GPUs all need to be powered, they need to all get as much power as they're calling for. And you can't necessarily grab that off the grid whenever you want and meet the deadline of that chip. It needs that power right away, which is why you need all these megapacks to be located a very short run of copper wire away. You can't install them over the hill and down the road. They need to be close enough by that at the speed of light, they can throttle how much power all those chips are calling for and get it to them with extremely efficient software with very low latency to make sure they're not left wanting electrons. We expect to power on this facility within the next few weeks. I already read the whole thing. So there you go. XAI Memphis is an account you can follow on X if that interests you. Here's one from Kim Java. What city should get the Tesla diner next?
Welcome. Disneyland is your land.
All right, it's not Disneyland. I guess I'll mute this and keep playing it so you can see more than just Kim Java wearing a box top as a hat. Those are nice boxes. They may go away at some point in the future. I imagine that's an expensive way to package to-go orders. If you're a restaurant, very custom, very sharp printed multicolor cardboard origami style box top that's can't be cheap in my opinion. So Tesla Diner, yeah, there you go. More great videos about the Tesla Diner. Go experience that if it's within your driving range. Here's another one from Elon Musk. Ingredients are sourced from local farms. Well, I would have expected nothing less from Kimball Musk's brother, Elon Musk, when handing out orders. Now, I don't know if he put Tesla board member Kimball Musk in charge of the menu for this restaurant, but Kimball Musk owns restaurants and he takes pride in locally sourcing the ingredients for them to get fresh, sustainable, organic ingredients to his customers. So this is right in line with what you would guess you would get from a Kimball Musk restaurant. And there's the menu. If you want to go check out the Tesla Diner menu, you can order from the touchscreen of your Tesla when you arrive at the Tesla Diner. And they will bring the food out to you. That's how awesome that organization is. Here's one from Stephen Mark Ryan that I liked. Do you remember a couple of weeks ago I made a Who's Hating Hard on Tesla Today video about Missy Cummings? He dug up footage I had never seen on Missy Cummings. Tesla's Q2 earnings will feature Impossible First.
For the first time in the company's history.
I'm just here to tell you the truth. And the reason why you will never, ever, ever, those cars will never be full self-driving is because the red, they don't have the LiDARs.
That's a great way to punctuate a punchline to a joke. As viewers of Curb Your Enthusiasm will know, I believe that's where Stephen Mark Ryan lifted that outro from. Yeah, this is a real tweet from Missy Cummings with a gif of her punching a man in the face saying somebody would be there to hold me back. Missy versus Elon. All right. Yeah, LiDARs. The red, the LiDARs, all those signals. And the slide is titled The Basics. The basics that you need. Well, yeah, the table stakes, if you want to have a self-driving car, is that there must be long-range radar and LiDAR and cameras and short/medium-range radar. You have to have all of that if you want to have a self-driving car. You can't do it with only cameras. Except Tesla has done it with only cameras. They just need to keep working on a few more iterations of it to get it safer than a human driver, fewer interventions than you would need if you had an average Lyft driver. You would say, "Hey, pal, you're in the wrong lane," or "You're going the wrong way," or whatever you would say to an average Uber or Lyft driver. Tim Busby captioning this, "Good thing she's entirely rational and it's not at all personal." Yeah. Replying to Stephen Mark Ryan. Yeah, so I liked both of those. Oh, I'm still in this reply. I need to hit the back button to go back to my likes. Here's one from No Safe Words at cyber_trailer. This account, I think, was guilty of plagiarizing somebody recently and called out for it publicly. So maybe I have to stop. Well, I'm not following this account. I'm just seeing their posts a lot. I was going to say I have to stop following them, but I wasn't following them to begin with. Back to Atlanta, Georgia last night for a fresh Waymo faceplant Full intersection blockade, complete chaos, nighttime construction was starting down the street. As they began their work to close the road, they were surrounded by Waymos. Two of them froze in the intersection and refused to move out of the way, while one of them started backing down the road against traffic for the entire block, never to be seen again. Everything good, Real Dano Dowd? Have a nice nap today? Please tag your favorite autonomous vehicle experts who are having trouble finding these videos. Look at these Waymos. Either stopped and stuck in traffic, or this one that's reversing, I imagine, is being teleoperated. So yeah, this guy is trying his best to keep the Waymos out of a restricted area. They're trying to start construction work, and they can't do it because they didn't bring enough barricades to block off the road to the satisfaction of the software in this Waymo. So this one's got to be teleoperated, reversing its way down the road. That's great. I made a snarky comment the other day. Does the 10 million autonomous miles Waymo bragged about include miles reversing through intersections? But look at it is reversing through an intersection, right? That's you. If you see a video of anyone reversing through an intersection, odds are high that it's a Waymo vehicle doing it. It's almost the only time you'll ever see a vehicle reverse through an intersection if it's a Waymo. Here's one from Roland Percher at PILOLY. Tesla reported Q2 revenue of $22,496,000,000, up 16.3% since last quarter sequentially, but down 11.8% year over year, that is versus Q2 2024. And earnings per share of 40 cents. 40 cents is better than I expected. I expected 28 cents. Tesla beat that by 12 cents. They didn't have any restructuring and other expense, so I missed by $200 million there. And then the automotive gross margin dollars beat my forecast by $400 million, which is pretty good. It sounds pretty good. Those are the largest numbers on the P&L. They're the hardest ones to nail. Some people do so more often than I do, I guess. But this chart you may recognize as looking familiar to one that I haven't charted in a while. Why haven't I? Well, look at it. Can you imagine the heat I would take if I posted this chart with Q1 and Q2 down by as much as they're down by from 2 years ago? Like, this chart used to show how strong Tesla's revenue growth was versus prior years. And the reality of the past 2 years is that in the first half of the year anyway, Tesla hasn't been growing revenue dollars. They got to get some more products released that people want to buy to keep this revenue growth moving and get it back on track again. Now, last year in Q3, there was growth. You can see this pink block here was larger than this one. Let's hope that happens again. And you can see this blue block was a little bit larger than this blue block for Q4. So Roland does color his chart differently than I do the one that I have on Flourish. But it's the same information. And a little bonus content for you subscribers, in case you're thinking I made it up. Here's my browser with a live link. If you want to type in this to your browser, you'll be able to see this on your screen and mouse over it and get information on what every quarter's revenue was every year in Tesla's history. It just doesn't look that great. It used to look great back in all of these years, right? I think I might have started updating this report in 2019 on Flourish, and it was doing great through 2023. And then beginning at the start of last year, I stopped being able to post this chart as often as I like because Tesla has had year-over-year revenue misses. And doesn't look great. But here's how Roland presented it. I gave him a like for doing that work Here's a different way of looking at Tesla's revenue if you break it down into automotive as the green blocks, service as the red, I guess we're going to call that color. Yeah, it says you're colorblind, host. I'm going to call it red. It's not a very deep red. And then yellow, he has cash increase. I don't know why cash increase is on this chart. I gave this tweet a like. I should ask Roland, what do you mean cash increase? That's not a kind of revenue. Like the revenue breakdown I was expecting to read to you up here would have been automotive, services and other, Tesla Energy, right? Tesla Energy would have been the other one. So maybe it's just a mislabel and that is Tesla Energy on here because it has been getting bigger over the years. I would think it would have to be bigger than this. But yeah, don't mix apples with oranges. Cash is a balance sheet item. It's an asset. And on the statement of cash flows, you can see how your cash has been moving around. But on your income statement, where you report revenue, the revenue types would be automotive revenue, regulatory credits, Tesla Energy, and services and other. So I thought that's what this was. Maybe I'm wrong. And here's one on Tesla gross margin, automotive in green. This number beat my forecast. I had a more pessimistic automotive gross margin percentage in, and that accounted for almost all of my miss on my forecast. Tesla's doing better than I thought they would at the lower prices, discounts, and promotions that they're currently offering. And Tesla Energy has a better gross margin than automotive does, and that's been true for a while. So you have to go back to 2022 to find a time when Tesla's automotive gross margin was doing better than the energy gross margin. And then services and other, you don't expect to make a lot of money here because Tesla dealerships aren't ripping people off the way dealerships, regular old car dealerships, make all of their profits off of service by overcharging you when they tell you you need a transmission fluid flush, and they charge you $1,000 for it or whatever they do. It doesn't cost them anything approaching $1,000 to perform a transmission fluid flush. They just tell you you need one or else your car's gonna damage itself more and need more expensive repairs, and then you pay them the extortion money to get a clean bill of health back on your dyno juice burning internal combustion engine vehicle. Here's one from Matt Smith. Wow. Energy gross margins were 30.3% in Q2. It is not where zero-sum game 33 promised investors it would be by 2 years ago at 75% gross margin or whatever he said megapacks were going to make Tesla Energy's gross margin. But 30.3% is a good business. You want to be in that business if you have a way of doing it, and Tesla does have a way of doing it, and they're building more factories to make more megapacks. They're putting one up right now in Brookshire, Texas, west of Katy, Texas, which is itself west of Houston, Texas, if you don't know where Katy is. So Tesla is doing its part to help power the world with megapacks that the world is going to increasingly need more of as more companies like Meta and like Google buy more processors that are power hungry. They need a lot of power to run and do a lot of thinking, and you need megapacks to smooth out your supply of electrons. Here's one from Sawyer Merritt News. Chinese media tested ADAS, autonomous driver assistance software. Correction, advanced driver assistance systems. I just looked it up. So there you go. Advanced driver assistance systems is what ADAS stands for. You can make up your own acronym if you want it to stand for something else. I just did. It's easy. But I will return you to your regularly scheduled program and keep reading. Including highways and night driving, Tesla's vision-based system outperformed emerging Chinese brands like Huawei and Xiaomi, as well as traditional automakers. Even with LiDAR, competitors' ADAS performance lags behind Tesla. Top performers, Tesla Model 3, rear-wheel drive refresh, Tesla Model X 2023, long-range refreshed, Xiaopeng G6, Wenji M9, Zhizlei R7. Man, I've never seen that word before. BYD Z9 GT EV. Well, you don't care about all these. This is not the Watch James struggle to pronounce a bunch of Chinese car names show. This is James and Loki's Gyms of the Week. I'm just letting you know Tesla is performing better than the cars that were actually tested using data that they were allowed to have. They were allowed to collect and use for training. Tesla had to get open source footage of Chinese roads to train FSD on how to drive in China because it's against the law in China to record video and export it out of the country. And I guess Tesla wasn't allowed to set up a training cluster in China, or maybe they were worried about espionage. I don't know. But yeah, despite those disadvantages, despite every competing brand being given a one-lap head start before Tesla was allowed to leave the starting blocks, Tesla is performing better on safety. Probably on the strength of having a pretty good brain already when the training began, due to Ashok Elaswami's work feeding it data from everywhere else around the world that's legal to get data from. Doubtless, the driving safety is similar to some combination of other places and how they lay out roads and traffic, and probably not signage, but I don't know. How hard is it to not hit something? A lot harder than I'm thinking it is, probably. Here's one from May Musk. At May Musk, I was sitting on the couch during the Third Row podcast. Everyone was having so much fun. Happy memories. They were having so much fun around the table. It is still the best interview of Elon Musk, the best long-form interview of Elon Musk for sure. Like, it always pains me to see him hanging out with bros who are not interviewers. Like, none of these folks are journalists either. These are all Tesla enthusiasts, supporters, fans, and they had a good time talking to Elon Musk at Gene Wilder's old house. I think just off the Beverly Hills golf course is where they were before Elon sold that house to a relative of Gene Wilder's for a song, I think, is how that story went. Yeah, and Jose at I Like Teslas also agreed, still the best Elon interview in history. If you haven't seen it yet, it's easy to find. You go to YouTube and you type in Third Row Podcast Elon Musk, and you will find it. And get to see the documentary footage put together by Safi and Praval here of all of them chatting with Elon and Kimball and May for a couple of moments. She was brought into the conversation. Here's one from Everman. Demand is insane amongst the homeless population with no money in their bank accounts, though. Why would I like this post? Let's see the context. Mayor Talker began this thread at Fresh Shiva, saying Tesla has a severe demand problem. Never in company history has its factory utilization rate been this low. Now, I don't want to say severe. You just saw the revenue charts. They're down a little. The growth isn't there. That much we can say for certain, right? He's reposting James Cat at Tesla Fan MTL with no E in Tesla. Vehicle capacity is greater than 2.35 million per year. Deliveries this year will be 1.5 million. So that's putting Tesla around 2/3 capacity, which is not where you want to be if you're an automaker. You want to be more like, more, 80% is okay, 90% is good. You would rather be bursting at the seams trying to figure out when you can schedule your maintenance work to shut down the line. So the comment being referenced here by Everman, whose real name I know, but who does not want his real name disclosed publicly, is that Elon keeps saying the demand for Teslas is insane, but people just do not have the money in their bank account to afford one. What is the problem with this logic? The problem with this logic is that they are buying other cars that cost just as much. So the money is in their bank account. They're just choosing other brands, right? And awareness would help. Like, there are still lots and lots of people out there who aren't buying a Tesla because they think Teslas start at $100,000. Or because they think that it's very hard to drive a Tesla. Or they believe other EV myths. They believe they can't get it wet or leave it out in the rain. They believe they have to have a garage to own an EV. Whatever the myths are that they believe, something is preventing them from adding Tesla to their consideration set. They don't take a test drive in a Tesla because they already believe misinformation about Tesla that prevents them from going on a test drive that would convince them to buy a Tesla. That's the problem, and Tesla needs to address it, in my opinion. I've raised this a few times on X, and I got a reply from Elon once saying they were going to do more to raise awareness and to do more advertising, and I haven't seen it. Friends, have you? The Tesla Diner is good advertising. Maybe that's why everybody wants to post about it so much and like the posts. We're just starved for good news about Tesla to be out there. Now, should the good news about Tesla be that there's a diner where you can buy burgers and milkshakes? Beats nothing. It's better than nothing. I think is why Tesla fans are okay with the Tesla Diner, but that's not the most helpful kind of advertising. The best advertising would be an information campaign, helping people understand that they've been misled. People don't like being lied to. People don't like the feeling of having been tricked or having almost been tricked. Those are very powerful motivators psychologically for consumers. If you can let somebody know the wool has been pulled over their eyes, they don't forget that. They remember it the next time they're trying to make a purchasing decision applicable to that situation. So I think Tesla should advertise much the same way Apple advertised years ago with the "Hello, I'm a Mac and I'm a PC" campaign, which lasted for years and was extremely effective at converting people from buying PCs to buying Apple computers and iPods in the age before iPhones, I think. All right, here's the next one I liked. It's from Nate Anderson. This is too long to read you, but I'll click through it and show you the context anyway. It's a reply to a video in which Nate Anderson was repeatedly attacked, maligned, and disparaged by Trevor Milton, interviewed by Tucker Carlson here. Now, I'm going to give Tucker Carlson as much benefit of the doubt as I can. He's a reporter and an investigative journalist, and he did not do enough investigating of Trevor Milton. His pushback on Trevor Milton in this interview was weak and consisted mostly of saying, "That's unbelievable. I can't believe that." Whenever Trevor Milton would lie right to his face and say the most implausible stuff you've ever heard in your life. Watch this video, I guess, and see, but the rebuttal from Nate Anderson was lengthy, justifiably so, and appropriate to the context of him being called a criminal by Trevor Milton, who himself is a liar and a fraud and a criminal, in my opinion. Allegedly. Let's make sure Trevor Milton doesn't sue me. He has a lot more resources with which to pay a legal team than I do, as a result of defrauding Nikola investors, allegedly. I'm having fun. So I replied to that. Me preparing to watch the video Stephen Mark Ryan will make about this. Maybe just wait until Stephen Mark Ryan posts his video about Tucker Carlson interviewing Trevor Milton and watch that instead, because it's going to be more enjoyable for you to watch than just watching Tucker Carlson blithely nodding as Trevor Milton lies right to his face. And he seemingly doesn't get it. Like, and maybe I'm being a little unfair to Tucker Carlson. I think I don't watch all of his interviews. I've seen some before, like the Vladimir Putin interview, right? He didn't push back on Vladimir Putin. Like, I've heard that it's good advice if you're going to interview people to let them keep talking. Like, don't cut them off. Don't correct them. Don't shut them down. Don't indicate to them that you don't believe what they're saying, because if you do all of that, it stifles the conversation. It stops them from saying the next thing, which might be even more entertaining to your audience, right? So I think to some extent, Tucker was just trying to keep Trevor talking. Hey, maybe if I just nod and encourage Trevor enough, he'll say even more easily falsifiable claims. All right, enough about that. Here's one from Kendall. This is Kendall Richley at the Tesla Diner saying hello to Franz and a few other people, including Captain Eli here. And I apologize that I don't recognize the other person with Kendall here. Maybe I should know who the other person is besides Captain Eli. But good to see Kendall having fun at the Tesla Diner with some Tesla supporters. Here's a post from Captain Eli. I am having so much fun at the Tesla Diner. I don't want to leave this place. Yeah, brand damage is how somebody else captioned maybe this video, maybe a different video. It seems like there's enough demand at this point. Now, restaurants do pretty well around grand openings because folks who've been wanting to poke their head inside and look around show up at a grand opening or right after a grand opening. So you do get a honeymoon period for your restaurant where business volume is doing pretty well. That's not a guarantee that business volume will remain high forever. A lot of the folks who just were curious to look around will show up that once and then never come back again. So we'll see how the Tesla Diner does. Here's one from Josh West, 24/7. Great to talk Tesla Diner with you, Franz von Holzhausen, whose handle is at Woodhouse2 on X. You and the design team absolutely nailed it. So good stuff here from Josh West, who's a pretty tall guy. You don't know this about Franz. Franz is over 6 feet tall. So Josh also must be. Here's one from S.E. Robinson Jr. at S.E. Robinson Jr. How do I know Franz is over 6 feet tall? Because I have my photo taken with Franz von Holzhausen, and he's almost as tall as I am. So that's how. I met him at the Cybertruck First Deliveries event. He was kind enough to stay for photos after Elon vacuumed out the back door of the Tesla Gigafactory. He was busy. He had stuff to do, apart from hanging out with the audience after that presentation was over. S.E. Robinson Jr. posted new images of xAI's Colossus 2 data center in Whitehaven, Memphis, Tennessee. If you've been to Graceland before, where Elvis Presley lived, that's a very popular tourist attraction for people who visit Memphis. You know where Whitehaven is. Whitehaven is the area where Graceland is, and extends west of there a fair way through Memphis. You can look it up on Google Maps if you want to know where Whitehaven, Memphis, Tennessee is. It's west of the airport. The area being worked will be home to the world's largest Tesla Megapack site and the center's chiller yard. So a chiller plant, if you don't know what that is a lot of industrial equipment used for air conditioning. If you have a very large space that needs to be air conditioned, what you need to do is water cool your air conditioning system, and that need for condensation requires large industrial size equipment to cool down the building with water, and then to cool down the water so that you can use it again. All right. And I'll stop there before I exhaust my understanding of what a chiller plant is. Here's one from What's Inside. I ate almost everything at the Tesla Diner. Which food is best? This was the only food review I saw. Oh yeah, and a good tip there, if you want the large box, which is like the shape of a Cybertruck top instead of a very shortened, stylized Cybertruck, you have to order the hot dog. The hot dog is the only one that comes with a Cybertruck-shaped Cybertruck box. This guy, maybe not the world's biggest fan of the hot dog, but fine. Yeah, it was the bottom of the list. His short list of menu items that he tried. Tuna melt, pretty good, if you like a tuna melt, I guess. Don't get the super messy biscuit, unless you're okay with drippy fried egg dripping everywhere. It's a diner. At diners, sometimes you get drippy eggs. That's a thing. Chicken and waffle sandwich, classic. And the egg sandwich.
Here, and my goodness, this sandwich is so good. Surprisingly, this is my favorite of them all. Number one.
All right, there you go. So the recommendation is to try the egg sandwich. I would never have tried the egg sandwich except that it was number one on that short list. I may still never try the egg sandwich. I don't have any plans to visit West Hollywood, Santa Monica Boulevard anytime soon. Maybe that'll change. Maybe one day I'll get out there and try out the Tesla Diner. I would like to, but I have no plans to visit California in the near future or the extended future. Here's one from Elon Musk. Extreme execution is needed, but a valuation of $20 trillion for Tesla is possible. Well, a lot of us would be able to retire if a valuation of $20 trillion happens for Tesla stock. Now, on a long enough timeline, it'll get there. By virtue of inflation, the way our government is spending money, yeah, $20 trillion could happen. The question is, how long will it take to get to a $20 trillion valuation? I don't think Elon Musk is saying that 50 years from now it'll be worth $20 trillion, because a lot of companies are going to be worth $20 trillion 40 or 50 years from now. Not just Tesla. I think he's saying there's an accelerated path for Tesla to get to that before many other companies make it to that milestone. He's reposting Muskonomy, breaking Chief Investment Officer Keith Fitzgerald. You hardly ever see the surname Fitzgerald spelled like this. Says betting against Elon is like betting against Steve Jobs. He believes Tesla is headed towards a $20 trillion valuation. I know CERN Basher agrees that Tesla could make it to a $20 trillion valuation and has a bunch of spreadsheets that say so, with autonomous robots and robotaxis being a big driver for how Tesla could achieve the earnings growth that would make Wall Street keep buying Tesla stock at such a valuation. Here's one from Nick at NS123ABC. Andre Karpathy explaining Elon Musk's unique management style. This is a long video, but I want to play it for you anyway.
Well, number one is like, so he likes very small, strong, highly technical teams. I would say at companies by default, the teams grow and they get large. Elon was always like a force against growth. I would have to work and expend effort to hire people. I would have to like basically plead to hire people. And then the other thing is that big companies, it's really hard to get rid of low performers. And I think Elon is very friendly to, by default, getting rid of low performers. So I actually had to fight for people to keep them on the team because he would by default want to remove people. So keep a small, strong, highly technical team. No middle management that is kind of like non-technical for sure. So that's number one. Number two is kind of like the vibes of how everything runs and how it feels when he sort of like walks into the office. He wants it to be a vibrant place. People are walking around, they're pacing around, they're working on exciting stuff, they're charting something, they're coding. You know, he doesn't like stagnation. He doesn't like for it to look that way. He doesn't like large meetings. He always encourages people to like leave meetings if they're not being useful. So actually, you do see this, or you know, it's a large meeting, and if you're not contributing and you're not learning, just walk out. And this is like fully encouraged. And I think this is something that you don't normally see. I think a lot of bigger companies, they like pamper employees. I think like there's much less of that. The culture of it is you're there to do your best technical work, and there's the intensity and so on. And I think maybe the last one that is very unique and very interesting and very strange is just how connected he is to the team. So usually a CEO of a company is like a remote person 5 layers up who talks to their VPs, who talk to their reports and directors, and eventually you talk to your manager. That's not how your companies, right? Like he will come to the office, he will talk to the engineers. Normally people spend like 99% of the time maybe talking to the VPs. He spends maybe 50% of the time, and he just wants to talk to the engineers. So if the team is small and strong, then engineers and the code are the source of truth. And so they have the source of truth, not some manager, and he wants to talk to them to understand the actual state of things and what should be done to improve it. And also just like his large hammer and his willingness to exercise it within the organization. So maybe if he talks to the engineers and they bring up that, what's blocking you? Okay, I don't have enough GPUs to run my thing. And he's like, oh, okay. And if he hears that twice, he's gonna be like, okay, this is a problem. So like, what is our timeline? And when you don't have satisfying answers, he's like, okay, I want to talk to the person in charge of the GPU cluster. And like someone dials the phone and he's just like, okay, double the cluster right now. Like, let's have a meeting tomorrow. From now on, send me daily updates until the cluster is twice the size. And then they kind of like push back and they're like, okay, well, we have this procurement set up, we have this timeline, and NVIDIA says that we don't have enough GPUs and it will take 6 months or something. And then you get a rise of an eyebrow. And then he's like, okay, I want to talk to Jensen. And then he just kind of like removes bottlenecks. So I think the extent to which he's like extremely involved and removes bottlenecks and applies his hammer, I think is also like not appreciated. So I think there's like a lot of these kinds of aspects that are very unique, I would say, and very interesting. And honestly, like going to a normal company outside of that, you like definitely miss aspects of that. Maybe that's a long rant. I don't think I hit on all the points, but it is a very unique thing, and it's very interesting.
All right, good stuff there from Andre Karpathy, who knows. He used to report to Elon Musk directly for a long time. He was in charge of Tesla's vision and self-driving program, and he was taking a different approach than Ashok Ellaswamy took. And Tesla went a different direction with that. Elon loves Andre and would love to work with him again. Incredibly smart guy, but this is one of the biggest challenges ever in history, trying to solve self-driving. And nobody has achieved it yet. I don't care if people say, yeah, Waymo has more vehicles on the road providing more service. Yeah, but they suck. Like, look at all those videos from Cybertrailer. If you want to follow that account, it's your business who you follow, friends. That account does post a lot of fails from Waymo videos. But I want to talk about some of the things Andre said during this video that are very clear differences between an Elon Musk company and a traditional corporation. Traditional corporations have all these layers of management. Sometimes they'll even call themselves a matrix organization, meaning that they have diagonal lines connecting the org structure. So it's not a military hierarchy. It's split across multiple dimensions of organization. So maybe you have lines of business that have their own hierarchy, and then you have regions that have their own hierarchy. And then maybe you have a legal and human resources and finance hierarchy that needs to be met separately, right? So anytime you want to propose anything, you have to get onto the calendars of executives who run multiple different overlapping hierarchies with oversight over new program launches, right? And maybe you have to check with your CEO to make sure that it's in line with their vision for the future state of the company. Maybe the board of directors is going to stick their fingers in and start telling people how it is and what you have to do next, right? So what's helpful to fix the bottlenecks that result from that kind of problem is to have a CEO who is so powerful and decisive and ruthless, yeah, that they come in and say, no, it's going to be like this. This is how it's going to be, right? Another one is, hey, it's going to take 6 months to do this. From my experience, I've been in this job for a long time, and I can tell you, if we try starting the process of placing an order to double the size of our cluster, we'll maybe be able to implement in 9 months, but it'll take 6 months for the chips to get here, right? Well, Elon has the ability to call Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, and just make him push from his side at NVIDIA to get to the top of the list to get the chips sent as soon as possible for them, which may be 2 weeks or something, right? So just imagine how much more progress a company can make when it's led by somebody like Elon Musk, who isn't afraid to break the rules. If you're some regular corporation with everybody in every department playing by the rules and maybe all being a little bit late or behind on their schedule, you can see the multiplying effect that this would have on slowing down innovation, slowing down progress. And you do see that happen, right? People wonder, hey, how come legacy auto is taking so long to convert over to electric vehicles?
I would say
it's
definitely
because
Elon
they're
runs
the
his companies in
kind
an
of large
extremely unique style.
organization that is okay with the pace being very slow to innovate. It's just not that way in an Elon Musk organization. All right, next is one from Sawyer Merritt. News: VW could sell parts of its robotaxi unit to increase capital. Well, here you go, right on cue. Legacy Auto in reverse and accelerating is how I described it. Ever since Herbert Diess retired, retired being a euphemism for got canned by the board of directors in favor of Oliver Blume, this guy who, I mean, is just as bad as most VW CEOs have been over the past 10 years. Who do they have? Martin Winterkorn, Rupert Stadler. Rupert Stadler went to jail. Martin Winterkorn went to jail. Herbert Diess did not. He went to an avocado farm in Spain, I think, is what he did after retiring from VW. They gave him enough golden parachute. I think I hit my pause button just in time to not sneeze right in your ear. But yeah, VW selling parts of its robotaxi unit to increase capital. Most of the comments were astonishment that VW has a robotaxi unit. Yeah, where is VW's robotaxi unit? I've never heard of a VW robotaxi. Well, that's the point, I guess. Here's one from Phil Beisel at P. Beisel. About me, I'm writing this after receiving a particularly nasty DM from an ex-user who made some mean, ridiculous, and incorrect assumptions about me, especially regarding my positive posts on Tesla. I don't know what motivated him, but I do know what motivates me. I'm a Tesla investor. I own a significant amount of Tesla and try to buy more anytime it goes on sale like today. I'm not chasing short-term gains. I tune out headline noise. I honestly don't plan to sell any before 2035. I don't trade. I'm not good at it. My edge is knowledge, a long-term mindset, and a high tolerance for volatility/risk. If you're curious, I also hold NVIDIA, Apple, Rivian, Google, Meta, Microsoft, and a few other boring names. I'm not talking my book. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I understood Tesla deeply before I ever bought Tesla. My thesis is simple. Tesla sits at the nexus of transportation, energy, and labor. It's a top-tier disruptor with a world-class product pipeline and technical leadership in a technical world. The part of Tesla that interests me most is Optimus, which is a replacement for human labor, which is why he mentioned labor here, as well as transportation and energy. I worked at Rivian, says Phil Beisel, for 6 incredible years. I was employee number 50, roughly, and founded the technical team. I stayed as the company grew to 14,000 people. Before Rivian, I spent over a decade at Apple, my first job out of college and my last before Rivian. I'm now semi-retired, no doubt. If you participated in the Apple Employee Stock Option Program for 10 years following college graduation, you were off to a pretty good start on retirement. I'm now semi-retired doing some consulting and spending time thinking and writing about tech. I'm an engineer by training and at heart, specifically a software engineer. I've written code in nearly every language you can name, from embedded to high level across the entire stack. I've built networking stacks, including a TCP/IP stack, transmission control protocol, internet protocol, maybe. Hey, look at that! I got one right. There is no prize for knowing what TCP/IP stands for, but whatever the prize is, I just won it. Managed engineering teams, led UI designers, and run both big and small teams. I have a deep appreciation for small, smart, passionate groups of engineers. You're probably asking yourself right now, did James wonder after recording the video whether he was right or not, and then went back and inserted that definition of TCP/IP? No. I did it live, like I always do, the whole show live. All right. So, yeah, I just hit the pause button in OBS Studio and went and did it because I hate having to come back later and do any editing at all. It's the most time-consuming and boring part of making videos, in my opinion. So I really try to just hit the pause button and do all of my edits that way. All right, let's keep going with this. My interest in Tesla comes from knowing how the sausage is made. My time at Rivian showed me how Tesla is fundamentally different from legacy auto. In fact, other than building cars, Tesla and traditional OEMs have nothing in common. I admire Tesla's engineering rigor, its grasp of the future of transportation, and its leadership. I think Elon is a remarkable person, not perfect, but easily one of the few engineering minds on Earth who can see around corners. Disagree? That's fine. I've been in tech long enough to recognize the real deal when I see it, and I know my judgment is correct. I invest in what I understand and am passionate about. I have a high tolerance for risk. When I make predictions, I'm often early. I can usually read engineering teams well and know when they're speaking confidently. But I also know how hard it is to ship anything real. I deeply respect those who try and succeed, and I understand it takes time, but I am also a classic optimistic engineer. I have no inside knowledge of Tesla. Everything I write is based on my external understanding and experience. I'm blunt but fair. I respect honest, informed disagreement, but I have zero patience for armchair engineers. I'm also humble. I've also always tried to hire people smarter than me, not too hard to do, LOL. And I know there are many, many people out there who are far smarter than I am. I am honest. I am not a good liar, probably really bad at poker. If I say it, I believe it. I might be wrong, but you can bet I believe it. If you don't believe me, please block me and move on. Life is too short. What a great post. 926 likes isn't enough for this post from this guy telling you who he is and what he's about. And I gave him a follow, as did Christopher Dungeon, who quoted the lines, "I worked at Rivian for 6 incredible years. I own a significant amount of Tesla and try to buy more." Instant follow. So yeah, I gave Phil Beisel a follow, as well as a few of the officially Tesla badged accounts, official accounts from Tesla, highlighted by Sawyer Merritt earlier in the week. I think he found 4 new Tesla badges were awarded, and I gave a few of those people likes or follows. None of them tweet very often, so you're not gonna fill your timeline with too many official Tesla badge tweets following them. And the last post that I liked this week came from Arash Malik, I think is the guy's last name, at Minimal Duck. The Tesla Diner is a glimpse into the future that also feels nostalgic. I love the vibes and the food. Amazing job, Tesla. So I'm not going to play you this whole video, but it's easy for you to go find. The cinematography from this reminded me of American Graffiti, which was one of George Lucas's first films, maybe the first one that was released to theaters. Anyhow, THX 1138 was a student film project, I think, that maybe got released. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below if you're a bigger fan of George Lucas's early work than I am. But great to see this Tesla diner looking so good. And that's it. That's my video for this week. That was the last post that I liked. So with that, I will continue letting the video play while I thank you, subscribers, for being a subscriber to me. I appreciate you. You are what make this channel possible for me and for Loki here, who is still curled up in his bed sleeping. And a special shout out to, as always, my 2 executive producers, Kathy Kitchler and Rebellionaire.com, and I will see you in the next one.